Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from guess where? Parts unknown. Ha ha. I always have people ask me, "Where are you from?" I say, "Parts unknown." They can't get it through their head. Parts unknown. Unknown is parts unknown. So anyway, that's where I'm from. And wherever you all are, I hope you got to see some part of the eclipse. And that's not what I mean by once in a lifetime. Uh, Let's see. I saw Georgia said she'd love the thumbnail. Well, thank you very much. I got that off of Don Jr. on Truth and then the other word is social. The picture, and I put once in a lifetime because what we're going through right now is truly once in a lifetime. Multiple lifetimes, as we all know, biblical, right? So let me see who all's here. Miss Mendersue, how you doing? You got a notification. That's good. Kicking Bird, how you doing, Georgia? Jax, David. Everybody's rolling in. Miss Mendersue's here, rolling. How you doing, Roland? Jersey Joe, hi, Nikki. Lone Wolf, Awaken Trillium, Diane. So, Linda, how you doing? So, I tell you, we're going to do a little walk down memory lane, wait for some folks to get in. I might have a Mountain Man quiz and no goggling on a Mountain Man quiz. You guys know that already. But I will remind you when we might have new people, come in and I'll ask a question and they've never been on the broadcast before. They'll goggle it and answer real. It's not who can goggle the faster. It's who remembers things, right? Or who learned things. And I don't know it all. I don't know anybody that knows it all. So anyway, I know a lot of people that think they know it all. Yeah, I surely do. And most of them are young. Let's see. Jersey Joe's here. Diane's here. Georgia. Let's see who else snuck in. Fancy Oak. M. Sneaking in on me. That's all right. Come on in. Shake off your skin. Rattle around in your bones. So, David is a newbie. Thank you very much, David. Very nice to see you. And let's see. Everybody's coming in. Sissy's here. Well, folks, we're almost at the end of the 8th day of the month. The 8th day. And I'm doing okay. I tell you, Mr. T made a point to make a lot of posts. He teed off. I'll put it that way. He teed off on, if you think about it, the biggest issue facing this nation today. He chose to address the biggest issue spiritually, morally, the foundation of any nation's strength is what he decided to focus on. Did you notice that? I noticed it. And I was going to put in there Ralph Northam boomerang. Remind me of that in the future because he's going to have a boomerang. Just like Wile E. Coyote, come back, whop him in the back of the head. Well, even worse than that. Nobody's walking away from this. Hi, Joan. How you doing? Let's see. Nobody's walking away from this. Hi to Kat. And you got people admitting on camera, admitting over the airwaves, radio airwaves, doing one of the most horrible things you can do to an innocent life. I don't think they're going to get away with it. And Mr. T's brought it up multiple times in multiple venues, even at a presidential debate. So he's got to be sweating, and we'll get into that. Yes, Diane, his speech on life and his text that he put out, okay? And he singled out Lindsey Graham, and I've got screenshots of those. We'll go over them. And I tell you, it was Wanda, I believe. I'm looking to see if Wanda's coming. I saw her in another chat I was in earlier tonight. That person I was wanting to do a broadcast with and discuss like a little interview, interesting life, a person who got a law degree, just like Abraham Lincoln did, reading his own books and didn't go through the regular route, so very interesting, very interesting. Served in the Marines and had a very busy week. So in a wedding this weekend, maybe I'll hear from him. He's got my number. So, but I have some questions. I'll give him a few beforehand. We won't get anything controversial, but it is important for people to hear that the status quo of getting places is not always the way to get places, okay? There are other routes. There's more than one way to skin a cat, more than one path up the mountain, and we can learn from that. Hi, Roland. Hi, Chris. How you doing? The cats here. They all know how to play the government game. That's right. Well, not all of them. You can get around it. So anyway, let's see. Well, okay, we got a good crowd in here. I'm waiting for for everybody to show up. Bubba's here. How you doing, Bubba? So Jax is here. Roland's here. Everybody's getting in here. So anyway, on my news feed before I went live, what did I have? Special Counsel Jack Smith urges Supreme Court to reject Trump's claim of immunity. Like that's a big alert to put on my phone when they're doing their dangest to sunspots, monkeypox, worry about this, worry about that. Oh, the eclipse is coming. Oh, cicadas, whatever. So, people are showed up by the tens of thousands to see the eclipse. Nobody was scared. Everybody got to watch it. And like I said, walking into this, the date of the 8th, the eclipse, the cicadas, the diseases, all the things. What I say to myself, and you try to say it to yourself too, whatever they throw, confetti they throw up in the air, thy will be done. There you go. And you don't torture yourself and you don't want to have family members looking at you like, oh boy, here we go. Going to start talking about this and talking about that. Out of fear. You don't want to do that. You have the confidence of somebody who's trying to have our country go in a way that pleases God, that provides for a safe and prosperous future for your children. Okay, that's what we do. That's the mission. That's what we're all supposed to do. And CJ, 1975, how you doing? Nice to see you. So in my thumbnail, I've got a number of things. I've got a revolution sign, and I'll start off with that. Revolution sign. And the reason I brought up Wanda, I haven't seen her yet, but maybe she'll get in. I told her I was going to be broadcast tonight. It was Michael Ehline show, Ehline. He's got a channel where he discusses civil rights, and things like that. So she put in my comments about my last live stream that she remembers when the cicadas, or however people want to pronounce it, came in. I think she said it was 77. I had said it was earlier in the 70s. I'm just going from my memory. And not all of them came out of the ground. See, they go underground and they sit there for years and years, and then they burrow up out of the ground. So, and they're always there. It's not like they get sprinkled in overnight and then come out a week later. They stay underground. If you ever dig bulbs or onions or carrots or gardening, you won't know what they are. You look at this larvae and say, "What's this thing?" That's what they are. So she said 77 because when she had her first child. And she said she didn't like going out because they were scary, and they are creepy looking. And when they fly, they go brrr. So I'm just giving you all a little heads up. They make they got big wings. They got great big eyeballs on a little head. They look alien, and they're large, and they make big noise when they fly around. And I wasn't going to put Sadie in my thumbnail. She's ready. Okay. She's ready for a mission. She'll take out a bunch of them, and a lot of cats will too. They get sick of them after a while. There's so many of them. But when they first start coming out, there'll be the first line that comes out is going to be in trouble. But anyway, then I saw a news report about the eclipse, right? And it was from Citizens Free Press, and they had a picture of a newspaper. This was a newspaper from March of 1979. And it said, "Millions see eclipse next showing in 2024. Blackout total in some areas." And it's called the Sunday Journal. I don't know where it is. I guess I could expand that or get a better picture. I'm not sure where it's from. But I thought to myself, what happened right after that eclipse? The Reagan Revolution. And we don't talk about it very much. It's out of people's sight and out of people's mind. But we had a very divided nation. We had a wounded nation. We had a nation that witnessed the assassination of JFK. Right then you had what I consider to be Marxist forces, communists, whatever you want to call them, Luciferian, satanic, whatever, European Masonic, whatever you want to say it. They introduced the Great Society, okay? I can play tapes of Johnson using racial slurs, talking about how he's going to buy the vote for the next 200 years. It won't take much, he said. Couple $100. We're talking in the 60s. They'll be voting for us for the next 200 years. And he referred to him in a derogatory term because he was a racist. Democrat, mind you. But anyway, then we witnessed the toppling of another president, Richard Milhouse Nixon. And that's why I equated the Cicadas with the early 70s, because that's when Nixon was impeached. And they said he was only the second president to be impeached since Johnson. Well, it dawned on me many years later that he was the first to leave office, effectively be removed from office because of an impeachment. Johnson didn't leave office. He won in the Senate by one vote. And the presiding justice was John Marshall. He presided over the impeachment in the Senate. Another one who got a law degree, not the way they do it now, in the Lincolnian way, before Lincoln ever came around. And he became a chief justice, the first chief justice. Well, no, not first chief justice. Chief Justice of Consequence. Um, Wait a minute. Now, I might have that mixed up. John Marshall. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? John Marshall. I'm sorry. He presided over. Wow, I got my brain screwed up. He presided over the impeachment of Aaron Burr, I believe. Let me pull that little clip I have of him, and let me. Here he is. Chief John Marshall, yeah, Aaron Burr, that's right. I'm sorry. I'll have to, it might have been Salmon Chase over, now you guys are allowed to Google this or goggle, because this is not a Mountain Man quiz. Salmon P. Chase, I believe, presided over Johnson, and John Marshall over Aaron Burr. And Aaron Burr, as many of you know, shot Alexander Hamilton, all right? George Washington's left-hand man during his administration. And Aaron Burr was vice president, and his impeachment failed also. So anyway, Nixon was the first one to be removed as a direct result of impeachment, albeit that he resigned. But they downplayed it by saying he was the second one. Because back in the 70s, people would be loath to remove a president the first time ever, actually remove a president. So they kind of played it off like, well, it's been done before. And, you know, they are so crafty and so nefarious. The only thing I had on hand was the dates that John Marshall was, or when he was born, when he passed away. So that I could tell that's when he was around Aaron Burr's time. So the Salmon Chase is the only thing I'm not too sure about. But anyway, Andrew Johnson was impeached after the assassination of Kennedy, and he survived the impeachment, but he did not get reelected. And then you have the assassination of Lincoln. And then you have after the assassination of Kennedy. Isn't that strange? You have an impeachment of Nixon. And before Americans knew it, we had not only an unelected president, but an unelected vice president. But national trauma, the after effects of an assassination, the Vietnam War, and the drumbeat of journalist coverage of Watergate, which is so petty in hindsight, so pitiful, an accusation. Anyway. So along comes 1979. We get an eclipse. Who gets elected in 1980? Ronald Reagan. The last time this country was unified. 50-some years, roughly, after FDR winning by record amounts. Then we had division, assassinations, impeachment, and Reagan comes along, wins 49 out of 50 states, a sea of blue, because Republicans used to have the blue. And here we have the cicadas coming again, and we got the earthquake. Not earthquake. We did have an earthquake, but the eclipse coming again on a 50-year cycle. So, you know, I'm not putting mysticism in. I'm just pointing out facts. Is it I'm not being like an Aztec king on top of a temple eclipse, but hey, is it a sign of a coming revolution? And we're feeling it. We're feeling it in the media, on the streets, interacting with one another, that the tide is turning. The tide is changing. The veil is lifting. People are coming out of a slumber. Sleeping giant. Now, the Mountain Man quiz was When was that term used? Very famously used, sleeping giant. And I was going to put, let's see, I put in there, let's see, silent majority, right? And I remember when I first heard that term, I didn't put it in the thumbnail, but silent majority was used by Nixon. He kept saying, we have to have the silent majority speak up. This was during the Vietnam War. This was during Woodstock. This was during the Battle of the Sexes. This was when Nancy Pelosi was gearing up to have a Roe v. Wade pass. Back in those days, it was unheard of to end a family or family member, a newcomer, as they call certain individuals now, a newcomer. It was unheard of. But all these pressures were on our culture. And Nixon was calling for the silent majority to wake up. Let me see who. Let's see. Watergate was a setup, and that's why you see on U-Sizzle now, Nixon. I guess it's originating out of Nixon Library. They're putting up snippets and clips and stories, and you know that Mr. T had a letter from Richard Nixon hanging in the Oval Office. Where's the Cicadas? I don't know, Jerry Lee. They're going to be coming around soon. Who knows when they're going to come out of the ground? Okay, we got some guesses. Kim said World War II. Okay. Georgia said Reagan administration. Single songwriter said 50s, 60s Cold War. Hi, Joyce. Yeah, it's a cool thumbnail. Andrew said, oh, no, don't say that. Don't say that, Andrew. He is protected. He is protected. Well, the closest one so far, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The closest one, no goggling either. I'll come as close to the actual quote as I possibly can. Just sitting here, don't have any book open or any other tabs open, but my platform here. Oh my God. Yeah, Andrew, that's a culture, as Pope John Paul said, the culture of death. Don't forget the Iron Triumvirate that led to or helped foster the Reagan Revolution, which was really worldwide. And we're looking at a worldwide revolution now. But the Iron Triumvirate, I'll ask that in a minute, but let me give the closest I can to the quote before I do my music. I'm afraid we've awakened a sleeping giant. So, Bill says Japan, World War II. That's closer. We had the one guess up top from World War II. That's closer. And then we have Roland says Churchill. Kim said a Japan naval commander said it. William Harris, Yamamoto. Yeah, I believe you're right, William, and all you has said World War II or the Japanese naval commander. It was while the Japanese were leaving the Battle of Pearl Harbor. Okay, there you go, David. David said World War II, after Pearl Harbor, they had done what they did, and they were heading, beating feet, get back into Japan, and Yamamoto. It may have been one of his commanders, but he was definitely involved in the conversation. They were like, "Yay, wow, man, see what we did." They didn't say it that way, but and he said, "I'm afraid we've awakened a sleeping giant." A lot of people go to the quote that we can never invade America because there'll be a gun behind every blade of grass. That was said, and that may have been Yamamoto himself. Jerry Lee said Hirohito. Yeah, Hirohito was in charge of the military. The Yamamoto was an admiral. Hirohito was, I think, the supreme commander for the Japanese forces. So anyway, just for no goggling, but what happened to Yamamoto? Yamamoto, Tora, Tora, Tora. Let's see, I'm looking through the chats. Oh. What do I think the final straw will be for Donald Trump? Well, the problem is he doesn't have a final straw. And he's dumping straws on their back. What will be their final straw when they're the straw that breaks their back? Oh, Ian said he did a harikari. No harikari for Yamamoto. A single songwriter said the same thing. But there's a UTizzle video on it. And after the broadcast, you might want to go see it. But I'm sure there's a number of different videos about it. Let's see. Did he go down with the ship? Roland Harris. Halleck said, well, Roland, no. You're talking about his battleship? I'm sure there were some commanders that went down with their battleship after Midway, the Battle of Midway. And but anyway, I will tell you what happened to Yamamoto. Any more guesses? Any more guesses? He became crab bait at the bottom of the sea. Shark Dookie. Is that what you're saying? The cat, Shark Dookie. He did not commit harikari. He was he had a fighter escort. He was in his admiral's plane with his staff heading for a meeting with fighter escort, and he was intercepted and shot down. There was a big brouhaha over whether it was proper to assassinate an admiral or any other top officer in a opposing army. That's still an issue to this day. But Hirohito is a different story. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. We're gone almost half an hour. I haven't even said that yet. Wow, Island Girls here. I know I got a thumbs up. Jax, yeah. Why, Jax? Nikki's asking you a question. Really not happy with DJT right now? Well, I'll have to have you talk to that old friend of mine. But he's passed away, so I'll have to talk for him. But I can't really say it. Not unless I say it in code. Did you ever hear the term pick your battles? Pick your battles. We'll talk about that another time. But, they call him Trump the blasphemer in chief because or the head blasphemer or whatever, after he said that November 5th is going to be Christian Visibility Day. So, yeah, they're all over him. You're sick of him sucking around like this. He's going to start turning people against him, which will create bigger issues for the rest of us. It's all BS at this point. I don't understand what you're doing. I mean, what do you want him to do? You want him to go in a phone booth and take his glasses off and his coat and come out with a cape and just take care of everything all around the world, all the Satanists that are in charge of Western governments all around the world, take his laser eyes, and people are turning on DJT. Well, they can turn and keep on walking, okay? And if they close their eyes while they're walking and just imagine an old man with a beard called Mountain Man behind them, I'm not waving goodbye. I'm sticking my finger up right between their shoulder blades. You keep walking, is what I say. For somebody that sacrificed what he sacrificed, it gets up every day in danger. What do people want? He dedicated his whole day about Roe v. Wade. What's everybody been doing since Roe v. Wade was passed? Why is it dumped on Donald Trump's head that people haven't gotten what they want from Roe v. Wade? He got more done than any president. Any president. He saved millions of lives. But people are getting sick of him. Ingrates. That's what I say. As a matter of fact, I about had it with you anyway. Get out of here. I'm sick of that. How dare they? How dare they? Before Donald Trump got into the picture, okay, Ralph Northam was talking about what he did. Laid an infant on a table, then talked to the mother. Then said, okay, we'll end this infant's life. That was going on back in 2015, 2016. The man's been beating his head against the wall. They're trying to take everything he owns. They're trying to throw his children in jail. Who knows what happened to Ivana? You want to turn on Donald Trump? Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue, and just what I said you get from me. Read between the lines. I hold all fingers up. Boy, that really makes me sick. You know, I'm used to people coming into the chat saying, Donald Trump is no good. Donald Trump grabs women. Donald Trump is a rapist. All those fools and idiots. But for 2 years, getting up here, talking about fighting a good fight, and then say, oh, people are getting sick of Donald Trump. He's not doing enough. What do you want to do? Act like that old man in Utah and post nasty stuff? So, which he's big deal, right? But what they do to him? They kicked his door and they SHOT him. What do you want? A nation in a Christian jihad? Not exercising our constitutional duties? The reason we're in this situation isn't because of Donald Trump. It's because we've been asleep at the switch as a nation. I spent decades of my life running around making my hay, finding my fortune, doing my thing. Yeah, I got involved in local elections. But the big picture, we all dropped the ball. Let me see. Yeah, right. Aside from that, Miss Lincoln, how was the play? Listen, if you're out there, if you're still listening, you play that speech of Donald Trump where he said, I'll fight for you with every last breath in my body. That's what he said. And that's what he's doing. He's an old man. They want to lock him up. That freak judge. Who else did you hear talk about the tattooing around the eyes, the mascara like a pharaoh, like Michael Jackson had? But me, now you're starting to hear people come out. This guy is a freak, okay? To be like a judge showing up with purple hair and an earring stuck through their nose, as far as I'm concerned. That's the kind of people he's after, and he wants to put Trump in jail. If they had their way, they would do just like the monarchs did, draw and quarter people. Do you know what that means? Watch the movie Braveheart. Watch the movie Braveheart. They all want us walking around with our heads bowed down, too ashamed or too afraid to look up and speak up. Because that's what they do to you, what they're doing to Trump. Did I hear about JB not being able to be on Ohio general ballot in November? August 19th is a convention and a deadline to be on the Ohio ballot. I'm not sure. They'll get him on there some way, a lone wolf. They're crooked. Don't you know that? They'll find some judge and say, oh, well, I say it's legal. Boom. So they put him on the ballot. Don't worry about that. Or they'll have somebody on there, whether it's a Michelle. Like I said, Trump is not putting Michelle on Truth Social for nothing. He's not talking about Ralph Northam for nothing. He's not bringing up Lindsey Graham for nothing. Well, I don't like getting like that, Tracy. I apologize. I don't like getting like that, but it is so petty, so childish, so disrespectful. Like he hadn't been tortured enough. My God, I don't ever want to uh, equate Donald J. Trump, to a religious figure. They're trying to do that now, claiming, "Hi, Tennessee, how you doing?" Claiming that Trump said he's God. They actually said that. But I tell you what, after Christ was crucified, inequities continued. Satan still walked this earth. More crucifixions happened after Christ was crucified. More innocent people suffered for thousands of years after Christ himself, who was scourged in front of everybody, stripped naked and beaten beyond recognition and then killed. People are getting sick of Jesus. He didn't straighten everything out. Think about that. But what did he do? He saved billions of lives over thousands of years. He had more influence over culture and civilization and spirituality on the face of this earth than any other human being. God in the flesh. But everything didn't change. No, Andrew, you're here. Why did you say something out of line I missed? Because don't make me scroll back and find it, because I'm not in any mood to put up with it today. Dixie, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, I may have blocked what, 4 or 5 people in 2 years. We were just talking about Frank the other day. He blocks them every foggy day. He's spinning the wheel, blocking them. I don't block them unless somebody says some idiotic statement, ungrateful, stupid statement that tells me they don't have a grasp of the big picture. Pappy Jew Bears, how are you doing? Wait a second, I got to notice. Oh, Mike and Bev. Bev and Mike, turn truth over lies will open people's eyes. So many are lost today. We love your truths and other tidbits of history. Thank you, Mike and Bev. That was before my tantrum, and I apologize. But I appreciate you all going by buy me a coffee. Hi, Jerry Lee. What are you doing back here? I don't want to read that. Get out of here. I don't want to read that gibberish. Hi, Finding Dory. How are you? That gibberish here. Wait a minute. What's going on here? So, anyway, man, let's get back to some of this stuff here. That horrible Donald Trump people are turning on. Well, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. Let me tell you that right now, because like Trump said, people haven't felt it enough. And I've talked about it in the past. I've said people are talking about how much they're suffering when they're in air condition or central heat or whatever, when they have a miracle device in their hand that 15 years ago, nobody even dreamed we would have. They can have entertainment at the push of a button. Distractions are so easy that we lose. We lose basic. Get out of here. We lose basic knowledge and or appreciation for how hard it could be. And I've said it before. I've said it before that we got it made. I mean, even in this day and age, most other nations deal with extreme poverty. They don't have the basics. I mean, why do you think people are flooding up from South America in our own hemisphere? And how do we get to this level of prosperity and freedom and wealth? Because we had a constitution. They have got shorelines, beautiful land, ocean property. They have farmland. They have resources. They have precious metals. They have oil. They have all the things we have, but they live in squalor because they have corrupt governments. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. But anyway, well, we got so much to talk about. Cash Patel, Trump gave him a shout out. And don't forget, Kash Patel approved billions and billions of dollars to okay, before I erase that, wait a second, not that. Most of these podcasters grow arrogant as their following grows. They beg for more and offer less. Okay, I don't beg anybody for anything. I don't know what you're doing back here. I put you in timeout, but you're looking to get banned altogether. And I've been stuck at the number of user or subscribers. I've been stuck for almost a year. Okay, over half a year. I just say, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I don't beg for nothing. Yes. Because I don't know why it didn't work for me. And but anyway, you can go on somewhere else. If I'm begging for subscribers, like I said, I don't care. So anyway, we've almost gone an hour anyway. But remember Ralph Northam. I want to bring that up if I don't bring anything else up, because I was going to read everything that Trump put out about the Roe v. Wade, that he's the only one that got it removed. And what Lindsey Graham, I'm not attacking Lindsey Graham, but Trump is reminding him that he was demanding 0 weeks. Okay, federal government say 0 weeks. Anyway, that keeps coming in with a bunch of gibberish, and I'm trying to think and pay attention to what people are saying at the same time. But anyway, now Lindsey Graham is trying to get something done federally, and like Trump said, he went from 0 weeks to 3 weeks, 5 weeks. Now, how about 6 weeks to get people to like him? And where he used to be at 0 weeks, Trump is saying, take the win and run with it. Okay? You can influence your own state much better than you can the Leviathan known as the federal government. Trump made an accomplishment nobody has been able to do in half a century. Don't throw it away and don't act a fool. Stick with what the issues are now, which is open borders, a failing economy, and everything else we can throw rocks at. But now, let's talk about Northam real quick before I Andrew, you can take a break too. You know, if what I'm saying is got, makes you worry or upset, don't worry about me. Anyway, Northam, you heard what he admitted. You heard what he admitted to doing, and what he admitted that he advocates. There has been no Supreme Court ruling that allows infanticide. No Supreme Court ruling that allows infanticide. And he admitted to doing it. He admitted to doing it, committing infanticide. And in past discussions, and he may have done it during his radio interview, he talked about how underage girls would be afraid to talk to their parents and how it was important for them to get the health care, air quotes, they need, right? Well, 30 years after Trump was in New York minding his own business, you got this crazy old bat showing up, accusing him of abusing her in a upscale department store full of people. If they can get away with that precedent, then they can go back and ask Mr. Nordum what he was doing, who it was, and have a formal investigation of red rum. Okay? I use the term infanticide, but it is. Whoopi Goldberg was on The View, which is mostly being looked at as a joke now, but it's a sick joke. But I bring this up because she said, well, there's nothing wrong with abortion because it's not in the 10 Commandments. What a moronic statement. Thou shalt not do murder. Okay? Ralph Northam. So how about this? If that crazy Jean What's-Her-Face can go back 30 years with a BS story about Trump and win 80 million bucks, 86 million, whatever, foolish. How about that teenage girl that had a son or had a daughter? And you've got this strange man saying, oh, it's not really a life. And the teenage kid says, what? I'm 9 months. I'm getting ready to give birth. It's still a bag of cells. You know, your parents are really going to be upset. We can take care of this problem for you. And that 16-year-old, we laid it on the table. Don't look, it'll just make it rougher. Okay? So, do you want to deal with your parents? Do you want to, how are you going to pay for, I know you're afraid, but believe me, it's right, it's good, it'll save from hardship, and the child won't have a bad life, won't feel anything. They won't feel a thing. Pressuring a 16-year-old, 15, 17, I don't know, 18, 19. What if they say 30 years later, they point the finger at Ralph Northam and say, that's the guy. That's the guy that killed my child. That's the guy. I was scared. I was alone. My parents didn't know what was going on. So think about that, Ralph Northam. And I'll tell you, if by some miracle there are young, or they were young at the time, or young now, or whatever, that were subjected to that kind of psychological abuse, that were pressured into ending the life of their child, think about E. Jean Carroll going back in time. Her supposedly for justice. But we're talking about a human life. What direction would your life have taken? And I don't care what they say. A mother loses a child anyway through a miscarriage, whatever happens, uh, suffocate in a crib, however they lose their child, it's going to, that the most powerful instinct is to care for their child, to protect their child and care for the child. Now, we have in this new culture, I've seen video, it's on YouTube, mother take a black plastic bag, throw it in a dumpster, and you would swear she was throwing away a bag of wet socks or just something in the trash, and it was a living baby. I meant to get a clip of that, but it's too sickening for me. Somebody passed by and heard a whimper. A husband and wife, I believe they were homeless, a homeless husband and wife, and they were dumpster diving. And they heard a whimper, and they found a child. Very cold, almost frozen, but alive. And the child was resuscitated. And they reviewed video, and they found out who did it. So there's an example in some crazy way of wealth in poverty. If these people weren't homeless and dumpster diving, that child would have died. But they found the mother, and she comes to the police station and denies it. But when they let her know what happened, and they knew everything, she wanted the child back. That same day, it went from dumpster to her wanting the kid. Because the cop said, we would have helped you any way we could. We have programs. We could have got you money. We could have got you whatever you want. She said, oh, okay, now I want him. So that's what we're dealing with. Oh, what are we talking about? Virginia. Virginia, that's what you guys are talking about, right? Well, anyway, folks, I can talk about what's going on. Things are heating up in Ukraine. Don't think it ain't going to. Everybody thinks nothing's happening. Trump's dragging his feet. Never mind, he's in 4 different court cases all up and down the East Coast. If they could do one in California, they would. But don't forget about Taiwan. Let's see, Jack Posobiec, what did he have to say? That was interesting. No, it might have been Clandestine. Yeah. Clandestine said about this eclipse, I'd like for everyone to take a mental note of who pushed a bunch of bat and you know what crazy predictions about the eclipse. These clickbait merchants give the enemy ammunition to discredit legitimate citizen journalists when actual things happen. The MSM lump us all together in the same category and then amplify the most ridiculous things in an attempt to discredit the ones actually exposing criminality. They love nothing more than when some right-wing influencers latch on to something stupid. Now, this is clandestine, not me, because they can use it all against all of us and demonize us by association. Okay? Focus on the objective and don't get distracted by shiny objects. Exercise discernment and stop giving your attention to those of you who have proven to be untrustworthy. Now, I'm going to bring to why I started my channel. Everybody had themselves, not everybody, I'm not talking about everybody in the chats, but I'm talking about a lot of people who are following Phil Godlewski, who are following whatever that other guy's name is, and had themselves worked up in a lather about 11.3. I said 2 years ago, 11.3 means the laws of the United States. Look it up. Laws of the United States, 11.3. It'll pull up tort laws. 11.4, treaties, okay? And that's what we're looking at now. So hopefully, and I said we were going to go through a long march. We were going to have to go through the midterm elections, and we're going to have to go to 2024. I said that. I didn't say anything about, doomsday plane and all this kind of stuff. No, because we have to continue on as a nation, and we have to find healing. We have to find common ground, and we have to do it in a way that has as little civil strife as possible. And this is the only way. Now, if they push it too far, there is another way. I want to thank Gary for helping out last night's broadcast, and I want to thank Bev and Mike for helping out tonight. And I'm just not up to. We'll get into the Russia-Ukraine thing in future broadcasts. We've got Brazil is on the edge of disaster. I mean, going total Marxist, and Mercan might be putting Trump in jail this week. That's a very real possibility, folks. Obama has been formally accused of taking documents pertaining to the Trump investigations out of his official papers at the White House, okay? And that was going to bring me to another issue. The Obama Library, those of you who've been with me for a long time remember, the last we heard of anything happened with that, they got permits to break ground. Remember that? That was sometime last year. All other presidential libraries would have been done by now. It would already be open. It would already have a 4-year history behind it of visitors. The building would be complete. But the last I heard, they just got the permits to break ground. He's got all his presidential papers in alternative, or in the plural, alternative locations, more than one, that are supposed to be stored in the library. The archivist, of course, didn't give him any guff, and he's got millions of papers. Yeah, single songwriter, you're right. I've got that. About they want to send more money to you, Crizzle, and they ain't going to get it. Well, at least not right now. Trump put up a legal brief concerning bills of attainder, okay? And what I've talked about in the past, that Congress shall pass no ex post facto law. American colonists had plenty of experience of bills of attainder, which is why the founders made sure to include in Article 1 of the Constitution the instruction that no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. Okay, that's the supreme law of the land. And that's what I was talking about with this E. Jean Carroll crap. Okay, but anyway, you're right about their UCL business. They're hollering over there in Europe that Ukraine's not going to survive if they don't get aid. Oh my gosh, I got so many different articles. The winner of the presidential elections in Slovakia. This is an eruption happening worldwide, politically and culturally, okay? Where people are seeing what the hell's going on. The current head of parliament, Peter Pellegrini, promised that the republic would be on the side of peace, not war. He stated Ukraine is not producing results and it could ultimately lead to disaster. In other words, he's signaling that they're not going to support Ukraine. And Vladimir Zelensky, during a Ukrainian news telethon, said that Ukraine does not have shells to conduct an offensive attack. We don't have shells for counter-offensive actions, he said, to protect our state. There are several initiatives that have begun to work. But he said they're trying to fill the shortage of artillery shells with the help of drones, but that cannot be an alternative. And I talked about reports were that 10-1 on the battlefield as far as exchanging shells. Russia's outdoing them 10-1. And it's getting worse. Zelensky said Kiev had become a hostage to the electoral process in the United States and called the approach of congressmen to the decision on the allocation of his assistance, quote, immature. He's saying our Congress is immature. Okay. He says for assistance, unfortunately, we are hostages precisely because there's an electoral process. There are elections in the United States. This is coming from a guy who was supposed to face election day before yesterday, right? They're calling him illegitimate, his fraudulency, all that kind of stuff. According to him, the issue of supporting Ukraine has become a domestic political issue. No kidding, for the U.S. It is precisely this immature approach I don't understand. And the writer of this article used some strong language, which I won't repeat, but he said, let me put it to you this way. The U.S. doesn't give a F about anyone. If it's profitable for them, they'll do it. And when it ceases to be profitable, then they'll finish it. How a man became president that doesn't understand that, I have no idea. So that's what the author of the article said. What are you all talking about? So, the Washington Post reported Trump wants to end the war and will pressure Ukraine to cede territory to Russia. The Washington Post. And then they got this interrogation footage of this guy who did the attack on the opera. And he's sitting there telling them, yeah, we were heading to Ukraine to get payment, and they gave us a map to show us where they cleared mines so we could make it through the landmine. He's telling them everything. And it's not like they're, beating him up to hear it. He's just sitting there telling them. I guess because if he doesn't tell the truth, he's going to get to business. I don't know. So, British and French foreign ministers David Cameron and Stephanie Séjourné said that if Ukraine loses, we all lose. And Israel has removed the majority of its forces from Gaza. The majority of its forces from Gaza. We'll see how that turns out from pressure. The active phase of the operation in Gaza Strip withdraws from Assad's troops, according to the Jerusalem Post. So the IDF announced the operation to storm the city is being postponed, which the U.S. authorities demand from Israel, threatening serious consequences. Apparently, Israeli leadership directly dependent on U.S. military assistance, was forced to agree to American demands and to suspend the war. So that is a victory for Joe Biden's camp, all the river to the sea crowd, which is just another way of saying to wipe out Jewish people in that area. I don't know what else they mean by it, right? So Trump summed it up as far as Roe v. Wade goes. I won't go through his statements. I was planning to, but he said, the Democrats are, quote, reeling when they have no response to my recent statement on abortion, other than he's only kidding, or he will change it, or he won't do that, he'll do something else. I guess this means that we will win the election because they are so bad on every issue. This is the only issue they are focused on. And that's right. That's right. And that's why he's telling Lindsey Graham to cool it. Take the win and go on. Don't sit there and try to kowtow to them because they'll push for legalizing it when they're toddlers. Is your 2-year-old too fussy? Your 2-year-old too loud? Well, did you hear about a new procedure? Whatever, And Jack Posobiec addresses that. Marxists still exist because they do not view 100 million dead as a bad outcome. They view it as a good start. Understand what we are up against. A lot of these people don't understand that we're introduced to and dealing with now, have no idea what Marxism and communism did in the 50s and 60s. They wiped out 100 million people in China, Russia, and prior to that, all through the Slavic territories. Socialism, which is what Nazism is, National Socialist Party, NAZI, wiped out millions. They look at it as a good start. And he also said earthquakes, lightning, solar eclipses foretell the coming of a great leader. That's Jack Posobiec. Now, I did say in my thumbnail that, listen, somebody like Trump is once in a lifetime. Okay? I thought the Reagan Revolution was the cat's meow, okay? And it was. It was. And there's a part of me that still says that the military was behind Reagan. And the Reagan Revolution is a mini version of what we're going through now. But I think they were limiting themselves to our hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine. This second attempt, in my opinion, is worldwide. Okay? Worldwide. Forget just doing it in our hemisphere. And believe me, everybody in Venezuela, everybody in Brazil, everybody in all these Latin American subjugated countries would have wished, or do wish, if they have any knowledge of history, that Ronald Reagan would have succeeded with the Iran-Contra affair and keeping communists out of Nicaragua. That is when they tried an operation to get rid of Reagan, or at least to tarnish his legacy. And we'll talk about that in future broadcasts. But they got rid of, direct interference. Every president, Kennedy, Nixon, Reagan, direct interference where they were trying to unseat or create an atmosphere where a president couldn't be a president. That's when they started the special counsel, Lawrence Walsh, and started attacking Reagan while he was lame duck in the final years of his presidency, they wanted to put a smear on him. If he was too powerful politically to get rid of. They already tried to shoot him one time. And I'm not saying anything crazy. It's true. They did shoot him. And the person that did it, you can go watch his YouTube channel right now. Holy cow, I was going to hang up the phone here about 20 minutes ago, but I'm still going. What are you guys talking about? You guys are talking about some kind of stuff. Let me see what's going on here. Open the door. What are y'all doing in there? That's right, Debbie. We've already won. The election is irrelevant now to a point. Even if we did make it November, they would not hand it over willingly, knowing how much Mr. T knows. And that is what they're trying to hide, folks. That's what Jack Smith is all about. Ha ha ha. I see what y'all doing it. Oh my goodness. You lost it. George said. All right. That's all right. You got to have a little fun out of life, right? But I tell you what, don't be I don't want to even say party pooper. I mean, you get around people that are dissing Mr. T and saying he's not doing enough. They're out of their damn minds. What would they rather have? What would they rather have? Peaceful protests like were happening with buildings being burned down and cars being burned up, people being gunfire in the streets. Is that what they want? Because believe me, it's not that far away. And we're going to see some of that, especially with these millions of people who are in here. We don't know who the hell they are. I don't have to go down the list. They're allowing them to be cops, allowing them to have weapons, allowing them to giving them cash. Let them do what they want, go where they want to go. What the hell does people think is going on? They think it's normal. I was watching where these guys were supposedly exercising their Second Amendment and their First Amendment, going to the border carrying a shotgun. And the Border Patrol came out, and they were, of course, filming the Border Patrol agents. They're filming the gate. One of them's wearing one of those stupid anonymous masks. And the border agents say, hey, you can't do this. You know, take those cameras, get out of here. And they're like, F you, yeah, screw you. And they got a gun. And yeah, I understand about having to, you know, exercise your rights, but use your brain a little bit. I mean, creating a dangerous situation. But their point was, I didn't have, you know, I said, live and let live, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. But when the Border Patrol agents left them alone and started walking back across the street, I was glad that nobody got hurt, nobody's career got ruined, nobody's lost their life or got scars to show. And I said, well, you know, those Border Patrol agents exercise restraint, and I guess those guys were doing what the Constitution says they could do. What did they say to the Border Patrol guys? As long as you guys are not allowing those people in, we're going to show up here to protest. On the one hand, they're standing up for free speech. They're standing up for the Second Amendment by being armed. They're being confrontational within their rights with the Border Patrol. And I said, oh, well, they're doing it dangerous, but, hey, they're making a point. But that's what they said at the end of the day, that the Border Patrol was unjustly keeping people out of our country. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, we got a schizophrenic culture going on right now. Schizophrenic. And I don't know how we're going to pull it all together, how we're going to get to what I've talked about in the past, comity in the body politic, but we better find it. But anyway, folks, we had a rowdy show tonight. I don't know what y'all talking about now, but it was pretty rowdy. Hi, Lori, you're doing the dishes. Took a nap after the eclipse. I know, it was exciting, wasn't it? All right, folks, I appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me. And I haven't said it almost the whole broadcast. Give me a thumbs up if you think about it. And I'll just go ahead and beg you to please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And I might go live tomorrow. I don't know what's going on, what kind of how juiced up I feel. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you. And let's see, just checking through. Somebody messaged me that they weren't seeing the chats on the replay. Remember, the hard comments, you can leave a comment and you can slide the comment bar and it'll go over to the live chats. And it takes a little time to upload the chats after the broadcast. Just pointing that out. Okay. Appreciate y'all being with me tonight. And I'll be seeing you soon. Keep your chins up. Don't fall for all the boogeyman stuff. And we'll have a good time sometime in the future. All right, folks. Have a great night. This is Mountain Man over and out.